So today's video is going to be one of those slower paced days. The Vampire barn behind us needs a new pressure tank because it's got one that's undersized on it. It's got a little small RV one, and there's a booster pump in there that boosts up our gravity pressure since it's almost as high as the tank at the moment. So we're going to add this pressure tank. Technically, this is a thermal expansion tank, but it'll do the same thing, seeing how this is all they had in stock. We're gonna crawl underneath the barn and have some fun. Let's go do it. Okay, let's look for, we got to connect 1/2 inch to 3/4 right here to tie to our pegs. Okay. This is what we got without going back there to our other supply and spending 30 minutes. So we're going to use two brass fittings here to make it a female. So what we need, some Teflon tape for the threads or some pipe dope. I happen to have there's Teflon tape in there, and I happen to have some in my pocket too.
Tape around it.
That's what seals your threads. Plus with this brass, if you ever have to take it apart, it keeps it from locking up. Because brass, especially if you do it into a steel fitting, the threads will lock on it. But this is all brass, but still it aids in it. But it helps seal your threads so they don't sit there and drip water. Pipe dope, which is a paste that you brush on there, I do the same thing, but we've got some of that in another plumbing box favorite. On this brass, this works really good. Anything really. If you tighten them tight enough, the threads themselves are tapered. As you go up your threads, they actually, if you look at them, you'll see they're kind of ramped up like that at an angle. They tighten, and the coupling's not on this coupling anyway. Some of them may be, but so as it tightens in there, it gets tighter as you go, and that seals it as well. Oh, we're supposed to have some channel locks out here. So there's a blue one and a red one. You see them? All right, go get them out of 37 on my truck, toolbox 37. Blue handle and a red handle. All right, I'm about to forget to wrap the threads on the tank as well. So always on something like this, see this tank is actually very thin metal, okay? So you always want to hold it. So what you turn on there doesn't ring that fitting off or bend the end of the tank or anything like that. They're very thin metal, easy to tear.
What type of tank is this?
We're using it as a pressure tank. This is actually marketed as a hot water expansion tank that you put on top of a water heater. So when the water expands from getting hot, it has somewhere to go. It's got an air bladder inside it. And you put a little bit of air in there, a little less pressure than what's going to push against it, and it has room to expand. What we're using it for is a pressure tank, which is going to keep the pump from cycling on and off so much, which is messing with our water heater and all, you know. So this makes that booster pump in there stay off longer, and it comes on. It'll run longer when it's on, but it'll push. It'll have more volume in here, just like the little tank that's on the wall in there over the toilet. This is just a little bit bigger version. This is 4.5 gallon, where that was probably 1.5 quarts or something. Probably not even that much smaller that thing is, which it worked. It served its purpose for the time being, but now it's either shot or the air's dissipated out of it, and it ain't worth going back getting another one of them because it should have been bigger to begin with. Fine for an RV, just for the pump, but we got that bigger water heater issue. Okay, so we did all that ahead of time, so we're not under in the dark with the spiders and possibly snakes doing that. I think this is all we're gonna need under there, so put that in your pocket. Now let's grab us some PEX fittings. We need a T. The intern's going to get the PEX pipe. We need a T, so that's 3 fittings, and then we'll need 1 to go on there. So that's 4 rings. All right, that should be what we need. Put them in your pocket. Now I'll take the tools in the tank. Let's go get it. Maggie must be tired of being pregnant. She sure is noisy. Take it under. You go first so you get bit, and I'll drive you to the hospital. Well, now the fun begins. I think the worst part is getting through the manhole to get under. All right. Duck walk like I did to join the military. I can still do it though, barely. All right, let's see where I want to tie in. All right, that's a pressure line coming down from the pump right there, so anywhere over here. Okay. All right, Eli. Start sticking stuff through the hole.
What do you want first?
I'm not super picky. We just got to get it all under here. You know what I didn't do? I didn't pressurize that tank or check it out there. That's all right, we'll get it in a minute before we put water on it.
That would work for my pocket.
Just give me the whole box. And all the tools in it. Alright, hand me the roll of pipe. Then I need an air pressure gauge and the air compressor.
Where would I find an air pressure gauge?
If it ain't laden with an air compressor, there'll be either one in my door or Papa's door for the truck.
Where's the air compressor at?
Should be right there where we started at. If not, Papa should know. He was helping me do it, get it out earlier. All right, guys, I'm gonna tie into this pressure line coming down from the pump. I'm gonna cradle that tank up here between these floor joists with some metal strapping. I'm gonna call it good enough for me. See, now I'm the inspector and the installer. So there we have it, guys. There's the tank strapped up under the floor with metal strapping, tied into our main line coming down from our pump. So now we got that tank in. And you master plumbers, don't judge me by my red PEX where it should be blue or any of that mess, because we use a roll till it's gone and good stewards of it. The water don't know the color. And I'm the maintenance man around here. Don't judge an electrician by his plumbing anyway. But that's it. Now we're gonna go, we've tested it for leaks, we're gonna go look at it on the top side and explain what's going on. So guys, let me explain what I was trying to accomplish here. We built our barn next to a pre-existing septic system, so we put a bathroom in it. And the little water pump that we have has been wreaking havoc on this water heater. So it's been short cycling bad. So let me take you in here and show you what we're dealing with. So we put this toilet in here so we'd have a nice spot in the barn, you know. And this little accumulator tank up here is what's been working with it. And it worked good for a little while because it helped short cycle a little bit where the water heater worked pretty good, decent. But it's just, that's nothing. I mean, it's made for this pump, but it's nothing. So what we got is a booster pump here because we only have like 10 or 12 pounds coming from our temporary tank up on the hill, storage tank. So until we get the new water tower in, and probably afterwards, this building will probably always need a booster in it. But this building, the lights and the water are on off-grid on solar. So we got a 12-volt system here, and we got a 12-volt pump here. It's a 5.5 gallons per minute. It'll make up to 70 PSI, but we got it on like a, I think it's a 60-40 pressure switch. 120-volt pressure switch, which they tell you not to do. We've got one that's been running 4 years in the bunkhouse. This one's been 2 years, not an issue. And you got an extra set of contacts on there if you do have an issue. There's not enough amp load on these things to do anything. It's like only like 8 amps or something that it usually pulls. So anyway, we have a dual filter system here. Got a 5 micron and a 0.5 micron. Let's turn the sink on here. Before, it would go like 2 seconds and the pump would cut on. Cut off in about 2 or 3 seconds and then come back on every 2 seconds. So every 5 seconds it was cycling basically. And you already see we've beat that with a 4.5 gallon pressure tank. I don't know if you can see that. It started around 60, maybe 62. Should come on around 39 or 40. I measured 39 earlier, and the way you set those pressure tanks up, they have a little Schrader valve on one end and that goes straight into your air bladder in there. And what you want to do is you want to set it 2 PSI lower than your cut-on pressure. So our cut-on pressure here was 39, what I measured, so I put it on 37. And I think I still my gauge may have been reading a little long. My tire gauge, I may have to add about 2 PSI because I hear a little gurgle when it runs out. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But already, I can pretty much, if I was taking a shower with this, I could take a shower in this amount of time. I mean, that's a pretty good cycle right there. And that's going to save on that pump because that pump for months has just been running. I mean, it's just how this pump's awesome. Get you one if you need a 12. You have an RV, don't put an RV pump back in it. Get one of these sea flows. That thing right there is proving itself. And the pressure switches on any of these RV pumps or anything, I don't use them. I just bypass them and use a residential 120 volt. So that worked pretty good. I don't know how long that was, but it was longer than 5 seconds. I'm happy with that. So that's what we got here. And of course, this is an off-grid system. This is not your normal household. Well, we're enjoying a nice rainy afternoon. Hope you enjoyed today's video.
Please like, subscribe, and follow us on social media.
And as always, God gets the glory for the good in their lives. Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior. Hope He's yours. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions or prayer requests at the email in the description below. Thank you and God bless.